Hello friends, and welcome to a winter wonderland garden here at Creekside. Today we are going to take a little garden tour after we had the winter weather event that came through half the country. I don't even know what to call it. Here in North Carolina, we of course are a zone 8A. Just to kind of give you a little bit of reference, we are located about 40 miles west of Charlotte, right there at the South Carolina line. And they have been talking about this weather event for quite a long time. And they were very concerned for us about getting a lot of freezing rain. Thankfully, that did not happen. We had mostly sleet, which is what you see. And then late yesterday afternoon, we had about an hour and a half, 2 hours maybe of some freezing rain, which thankfully did not do any damage, but it sure did make the trees look pretty. Now, what we're going to do is walk through the garden and just kind of do like a winter interest garden and just kind of show you a lot of things. May not do a lot of talking, I say that, but then, I'll always find something to talk about. So we're going to have some fun just kind of going through. Now, I am doing this video and I have not seen a lot of reports as far as how the rest of the country has fared. I've seen a couple of our viewers talk about, 20 inches of snow and that kind of stuff. I do know that our friends over in Tennessee got hit really, really bad with the freezing rain, which what we thought we were going to get, with down power lines and trees snapped and all of that. So all of my thoughts and prayers go out to y'all, because we had a massive ice storm event in 2002 before we moved out here, and it was horrible. There is nothing worse in the winter than ice on trees. And so I just know that I'm doing this video and I am thinking of all of you sweet people who fared a lot worse than we did. But we are going to do a garden tour and just have some fun in this winter garden. I came out here thinking it was going to be like super cold, and it's really not that bad. It's like right around 30, so I didn't even have to put any gloves on. So there you go. All right, without further ado, let's walk and talk. And we're going to go up to Mimi's, and Jerry put the drone up, so stay tuned for all of that. We're really just going to have some fun. Brenna is loving life. So you're going to see all sorts of crazy antics from this German Shepherd here, I'm sure. So let's just take a moment to appreciate the winter interest, right? You can see maybe that the ice is starting to melt off of the trees, but my gosh, they sure are pretty. And I had debated on whether or not to cut my perennial grasses and some of my panicle hydrangeas before the storm, in preparation of the storm, but I thought, you know what, no, it would be really pretty to have them with either snow or, in this case, some ice on it. And sure enough, it really is. Like, look at that. Oh, so pretty. Love it. The Japanese maple is absolutely glistening and glowing. The maple tree, Now, as I walk carefully down this path, because it is pretty slippery, Brenda's got her nails to hold on to, I wanted to talk about maybe if you experience some of the snow, the ice that we have as well, and you're looking at some of your plants. So, for example, I've got my tea olives here, my sweet osmanthus, sweet olives, whatever you want to call it. They were covered in that nice little coating of ice, and they are starting to, you can see where they were drooping and covered in the ice, but they are starting to melt. The ones that are in the sun are starting to melt. Y'all don't worry about them. They will pop up, not a problem whatsoever. So you don't need to help them. Just leave them alone, and they will pop back up and be just fine. Y'all, if you have a German Shepherd in your life, then you know that this cold weather and snow is like their absolute drug of choice. This dog could not be happier in the snow and the ice and all the cold weather, so she has been quite hilarious with all of this. On the back of our property, we have a line of evergreen trees And so I wanted to kind of talk to you about these because I think this is a really kind of important note to mention. So a couple of years ago, I don't know, maybe 6 years ago now, 7 years ago, we added these trees to the back of our property for privacy, so future privacy. There is nobody back there, it's just woods right now, but we were kind of planning ahead. And when we did this, we did these are Berkeys, and so a Berkey is like a blue cedar. And so we did the Berkeys, and then we also have the emerald green giants. I'll show you those in just a minute. Probably, I guess, maybe in the 90s, early 2000s, maybe around that time, Leland cypress were like the tree of choice. They're fast growing, they were beautiful, but as soon as you got snow and ice, man, those babies absolutely split. And these do not do that. So you've got that main center trunk going up, and you can see that the branches are definitely weighed down, right? Because they have a nice coat of ice on them. But as soon as that sun gets up over the back of the trees and gets on them, it's going to melt, and they're going to pop right back up. So the Berkeys are so cool, and they also do these blueberries. Can you see those in there? They're covered in ice, but love those. So if you're looking at privacy screens, we really recommend not doing Leland cypress. And then you can see those are the green giants there back in the back. They're not nearly as drooped as the Berkeys are. And then people ask us all the time about these trees back here. These are cryptomerias, and we did cryptomerias actually before we even built the house. So we were out here planting these. It is a double row, y'all. They are every bit of like 50 feet. They are massive. And so these were really great, fast growing. And when I say fast growing, we've been at our house for 22 years now. So these have been here for 22 years. They were probably like 3 gallons when we planted them because, let's just be honest, we couldn't afford anything bigger because we were building a house. And they have given us a beautiful evergreen backdrop with these phantom hydrangeas. And so even though the phantoms they still have, of course, their old flowers on them. And yes, they're brown, but how pretty is that, right? I mean, you don't have to get rid of brown things just because they're dormant, but the contrast between, of course, the white snow, sleet, the phantoms, and then the cryptomerias, and then of course you come in here with the Berkey as well. Oh, I love that. Are you happy, girl? Yeah, got your toy? Now I know for my northerner friends, or friends rather, not have to be in the north, that you get real snow, that y'all are probably like, oh my gosh, Jenny, what the big deal is this? Well, you gotta remember, y'all, we're in North Carolina. This does not happen very often for us. And so like the last true snow, like I wouldn't consider this snow, right? Because it was mostly sleet. The last good snow that we had was in 22. So Brenna was just a puppy. We had just gotten her. She'd only been with us for like a month, I think. And so to have something like this is so neat, and especially when you still have your power and all of the warm things that you can have in your garden. So Jerry was talking with our friend Terry. So she works, she's our sales rep for Spring Meadow Nursery. And so she lives like right there, Grand Rapids area of Michigan. And he was talking to her before the storm hit. And he said something about, it's going to be really cold here. And she was like, buddy, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. The high today is like 11. So don't come at me. He was like, yeah, okay, sorry about that. So trust me, we get the whole perspective of everything, but you also have to remember that in North Carolina, this is a very rare event, and we don't have all of the massive number of tools and equipment to take care of the roadways and all of that stuff. And also, as a side note, I did not know this until earlier in the season, that North Carolina has the largest rural population in the country. So that means that we got a ton of people living out in the country, and those roads are not being able to be managed super well just because of the population being so far out. Now you go into the major cities and all is fine, but like where we are, I'm not going anywhere for the next couple of days because, of course, all of this right now is melting. And then tonight is supposed to be like 10. The high tomorrow, I think, is like 28, something like that. So yeah, snow and, snow, very different than ice. But look at that. Oh, I love it. I love it. As a side note here, let's walk over to we'll walk over to the signature garden. I know I said I wasn't going to talk a ton, but that's like hard. So speaking of the roads and everything, so yesterday afternoon, trust me, this was not on my bingo card for doing this in a snowstorm, but yesterday afternoon, our sweet fellows who are part of the H-2A program. So the H-2A program is the legal path to have folks from another country come in and work. So these last year, we had 3 guys. 2 of the guys returned this year. So we have Heriberto and Jesus, and then we have Jose, and then we've got the other poor little fella got stuck. He's still at the consulate in Mexico. And so the 3 guys, they got out of Mexico. We were trying to get them here before the storm hit. And so we got them out, got them into Dallas, Texas. Well, my Texans, you know what happened to you, right? So they got stuck in Dallas for, 24, 36 hours. They sat on the plane, like on the tarmac for a long time, had to deboard, the whole thing. Anyway, long story short, they were able to take off yesterday and then come into Charlotte, and we picked them up at 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon. And so riding in between where we are and Charlotte, which typically is a 30-minute drive, 40-minute drive with traffic, oh my gosh, it was fine going. There weren't very many people on the road, which was good, and they were relatively clear, but we had to sit and wait on them for like an hour and a half because of luggage. Still don't have their luggage, bless their hearts. And coming back home, oh my gosh. So in an hour and a half time, the roads just massively deteriorated. So, and like I'm tiptoeing very carefully because everything that you see behind me is just basically ice. So yeah, we're not going anywhere. All right, look at this. Oh, it's so pretty, y'all. Look at those trees against that Carolina blue sky. Oh. So if you can hear that, it sounds like rain. Of course, that's everything melting off of the trees. So let's go check out the signature garden. The poor hay racks. Oh, law. I think I would say that the kales and the cabbages might be done, but look how completely frosty and ice covered that is. The sage. Look at that, just covered. That's the thing about these winter storms. They have such destructive capabilities, but yet there's such beauty also with it. It's one of those, I guess, what oxymorons, the conundrums of life, right? How can it be so destructive yet so beautiful all at the same time? So the boxwoods. Okay, so the boxwoods, even on the our back patio, doing the same thing. So these are the sprinter boxwoods, and we prune these once a year, late winter, early spring. And so what they're doing, as you can see, is because they had such good, quote, height to them, and then they're covered in ice, and then they're starting to kind of either bend over. This one here, let me see if I can get a good shot of this. is really kind of splaying open in the middle. Again, we're leaving it alone. We're not going to touch them. They will, you can see that these that are in the sun are starting to melt and get a little bit perkier. So it'll be fine. We're just going to leave them alone. If there is a problem and they don't perk up, let's just say they were staying this way for days upon days and really laden down with the ice, then again, not a huge problem because we do prune them late winter, early spring, and so we could take care of them then. But yeah, there we go. The ice is definitely already melting off of these trees that have been in the sun for a couple of hours now and doing well. And then I was over here yesterday and the winter berries are just like, I need more winter berries in my life because good gosh, are they not just the prettiest things ever against the white of the snow sleet? Just really, really pretty. So of course this is the berry poppins, and just such, this is just such a unique thing for us. So you just have to entertain me for a little bit because we don't get the white stuff. All right, so as we leave the nursery behind, we are going to walk up to Mimi and Poppy's house, my parents' house. They're our next door neighbors. We call each other, we're country neighbors, meaning that we're next door neighbors, but we're a good couple hundred yards apart from each other. You can't see each other from our house, which is great for everybody. But of course we've been in Mimi's garden many times before, and she has a completely different garden than I do as far as, just in general, because she has much more shade than I do, and I am more of a full sun garden with irrigation. She's a dry shade garden with no irrigation. Let me show you the creek right quick because it looks so pretty. So first of all, Brenna's very interested. Must have been an animal over there at some point. But look at the creek. Isn't that so pretty? And I love, like, all you can see, of course, Jackson was just here kind of clearing out along the creek bank, and you can see that massive cedar that is leaning, but just so pretty. There's still some ice in this cedar as the sun is just now getting on it. Oh. The birds, y'all, are just a flitting and a twitting everywhere. All of our feeders are very well stocked. I've got, I think I have 15 different feeders on the property. The folks at the bird store know me really well, especially this time of year. So all of our birds are so happy. And this is why also it's important to have those evergreen pieces in your garden, because when we were at the tea olives at the house, and then we've got tea olives right here, and we've got those Chindo viburnums to the left. These are where the birds come, to seek shelter in the middle of the storm. And if you've got to think about your sweet little songbirds as well, giving them that winter protection with the plants, giving them food, making sure the feeders are filled up, and then of course water as well. So if you're able to keep water in your bird baths and keep them from freezing, then do what we can to support all of our sweet little feathery friends. As we make our way across the walnut field to Mama's garden, give you an update as far as production wise, because people were asking how the greenhouses were faring. And Jerry's up there right now, as far as we know, as of last night, and to the best of my knowledge right now, everything is perfect. We did not lose power. The production greenhouse and the house are on completely different lines of power. So Mimi and Poppy, they're on the same line as the production, so they can lose power and we can still have power, and vice versa. Of course, we got the whole house generator after Hurricane Helene. Turns out we didn't need it, so nobody has lost power, so that is really good. But yeah, so the greenhouses, all the heaters were working, kind of pumping out the heat. I think Jackson checked it last night at supper time, and it was the one that we're keeping it hot was 62. So 62 at night, we will take it. So everything was working just fine. All right, we're here at Mimi's. Let's take a look. So there you go, my friends. I texted Mimi this morning. I was like, Mama, can I come do a little winter garden tour with all the stuff? And she was like, yes. But it just looks so bleak. There's not much out there. Now, y'all, would you agree with her? I adore this woman, but she is dead wrong. There is tons of interest in this garden. In the dead of winter, late January, after a snow/ice/sleet storm. The first thing though that I noticed when I flip the camera around is one, so these are alliums. So she has not pruned back her alliums yet. And so you've got that winter interest on those guys. So sweet. You can see the ice against that muhly grass in the back. Interest, people. Leave the alliums as long as you can. Might get a snowstorm, an ice storm, and you get some interest. And then, y'all, bless his little heart, look at this. We had a daffodil that was so confused and was blooming because this is the warmest spot of her garden. And yeah, so got a little icy, got a little frosty, but hey, she's got color in her winter garden. Look at that. Mama is a big fan of Stumpery, and so she has nice big stumps and logs throughout her property. And look how pretty this one is, right? With that sleet on it. You've got, I don't know if this is an agave. I'm not sure which one this is. Oh, there is a sign. It was a yucca. Sorry, this is silver something yucca. So you have got a yucca plant with the sleet on it. And then there you go, Stumpery with grasses and all sorts of things around it. So cool. This is not what I would call a bleak garden whatsoever. And then of course, Mama is a huge fan of the wind spinners, the wind sculptures, and all sorts of fun different garden art. She is the queen of garden art, in my opinion, and she has found these throughout all of her travels. She's a master gardener, so they would do a lot of different field trips and things. But anytime we come into her garden, people always ask about the wind sculptures. And so these are from Lyman Whitaker. He is an artist out west, Arizona, somewhere in that area, Utah, Nevada, New Mexico, forgive me. But you can find his pieces at different art galleries. And there is an art gallery in Asheville, North Carolina, that the Grovewood, part of the Grove Park Inn, Grovewood Gallery, something like that. And that's where she gets these. Covered in ice. They have little icicles on them, but the wind is starting to blow just a little bit and they are spinning. So she has got quite a few of those that she has collected through many, many, many years in her garden. And yeah, so even in the dead of winter, there you go. And then look at this. So they have a gazebo here with the Confederate jasmine. I mean, looking fantastic, right? Nice and green and happy and healthy. Y'all, this is 2 plants. So this is 2 plants on this gazebo. I will remember this gazebo exactly because this is when we found out we were pregnant with Jackson. Daddy was building it and we came and he was building it. I was like, Daddy, we're having another baby. And so Jackson will be 16 in April. And so this is 16 years old, and I'm sure that she probably planted those 2 Confederate jasmines like right after it was built. And so also you'll notice a lot of her stained glass. This is, of course, from One-Eared Cow Gallery in Columbia, South Carolina. She turned me on to them. I have multiple different pieces of theirs in my gardens at the house and at the signature garden. And so yes, they absolutely can be left out year round. Don't worry about the snow and the ice. The only concern would be is if, you know, a limb or a tree fell on them. So other than that, they're doing just fine. All of her Carexes, doing really nice, that beautiful color contrast against the white. And then Mama has got tons and tons and tons of the old-timey hellebores that have naturalized. And so you can see here, they've not started blooming yet, but all of that green underneath the hydrangea, those are the hellebores. So the wind is starting to pick up because, like I said, it's supposed to be really cold tonight. So this is fun underneath the pine trees. Thankfully, like I said, they are melting, and so once the wind comes in, hopefully all the ice will be off of them and we won't have any down limbs. But more of her wind spinners that she's got in the garden. You can see this is like the autumn ferns, those autumn brilliance ferns. Again, love these ferns for the evergreen color and structure in your garden. And then we've showed you this before over here, talking about the Stumpery. So they have some logs that they kind of, quote, buried in the ground. So look at those little columns. I'll show you those in a second. But also look at this one. So she's got a couple of pieces right here, and then has the autumn ferns kind of tucked in with them, right? So here in the wintertime, you just see how the fun kind of contrast between the green of the ferns, the hard structure of the wood. She's got aspidistra in here, all sorts of fun things. But so you can just tuck them in and just lay them down as if they were, you know, a natural part of the forest floor, or you can stick them in like she has here. So what she does during the warmer seasons is she puts pots on top of these. So she has got a lot of pots with hostas in them because she deals with voles terribly. And so she'll put them up here, and then she's got the pots with those beautiful lush hostas in them. Really, really pretty. And then y'all, I see over here, she's got a camellia that was in full bloom over here. That's why I love a good southern garden, because you can have camellias. Look at those. Are they not just beautiful? I'll have to see if I can find a name. She does have a lot of her plants are labeled. I'm not sure if I can find it with the snow and the ice and the sleet, but look at that. Now, are they perfect? No. They're going to burn, right? So they're already starting to turn a little brown because of the ice and then the cold temperatures tonight. So all of these that are in flower, they will burn. You can see where this one is kind of a weird kind of funky color. So they will burn, but my gosh, they sure are pretty right now, aren't they? All right, so I just found the name tag. This is Crimson Candle. It is a japonica. Yeah, so Crimson Candle. If you find it, you like it, grab it. There you go. All right, my friends, as the icicles begin to fall down upon me as we make our way back home, again, just thought it would be fun to take a little winter garden tour to see winter interest. And that is something that I personally have been really trying hard, I would say in the last 2 years, is thinking about that winter interest, because as a new gardener, I would plant primarily for those warmer seasons, right? So the spring, the summer, all the color that I wanted to have. And then came wintertime, and my garden really did look bleak and sad and empty. And especially if we were to get some kind of precipitation. And so it just looked very, very empty. And so I've worked very intentionally the past couple of years to add things to the garden to give it interest year round. Now, and this is very slippery, so hopefully I don't fall. So that could be, you know, leaving your panicle hydrangeas with the buds on for as long as you can. That's start there. Leaving your perennial grasses, leaving them up and as that old foliage on them as long as possible. That's somewhere to start. And then start adding in your evergreens. Start adding in evergreens of different colors and different textures, different shapes. Do you want something that's very upright? Do you want something that's short and round? Do you want to do a blue conifer or a dark green or a chartreuse? So all of those things, when you're looking at your garden, those really do come into play. And then I would also, as to the best of your ability, visit your local garden center throughout the entire year, right? And so don't just show up in spring and only buy stuff in spring. Go periodically so that you can see what those different interests are throughout the growing season, and then just add in nooks and crannies where you can. It doesn't matter if your yard is the size of a postage stamp or if you've got 200 acres, right? So you can still have a beautiful winter interest no matter the size of your garden at all. So I'm going to leave you on this final note because we just walked through the gate's closed, so we had to walk through the cedar tree. But yeah, the trees are melting, but my gosh, it sure is pretty. All right, stay tuned for the drain because Jerry has threw it up like early this morning, right when the sun was coming up. So I have a feeling it was absolutely gorgeous. Take care of yourselves. Take care of those people around you. Love on each other. Show grace to one another. Everybody has their struggles, all right? And so go out of your way to be kind and loving in those times, especially like even when you're at the grocery store. I'll have to say, the folks at the Dallas Walmart, Emily and I had to go because we were afraid that the guys were going to lose power. Their house is in Dallas, and we were afraid that they were going to lose power. So we want to make sure they had plenty of food to get them through if they went without power. And the folks in Dallas at the Walmart, we were there Saturday morning. So this was before the stuff started coming through. And everybody was so kind and so gracious. There was some bottled water. I couldn't reach it. A man climbed up, another customer climbed up the shelf for me and got me my bottled water so I could have it for the guys. He didn't have to do that, but he was showing grace and courtesy and helpfulness. So wherever you find yourself, if you find yourself in the garden talking to your neighbor across the fence, or you find yourself in the Walmart, or you find yourself going down the road, show grace, show love, show kindness. That's what I'm going to leave you with. We love you. We'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.